Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reset's Coffee Convos. I'm John, and I'm excited that today I get to talk to Folsom's Chief of Police, Chief Rick Hillman. Give him a big round of applause. Thanks for being here today, Chief.
Well, thanks for having me with you here, John.
I have to tell you, I'm a little nervous about this, me, personally.
Uh-oh. Have we met before?
No.
Okay, good.
I have that guilty thing where whenever I'm in the presence of an officer, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what it is.
Okay, well, I haven't asked you for your ID or registration or anything like that yet.
No.
We're okay.
If you saw me walking down the street, you might though, right?
I don't think so. Come
Okay.
on. I'm not that type of person. I might just say hi, and that's it.
Good. Well, I like that.
You must be
my kind of chief.
Yeah.
Have you always been a California boy? Did you grow up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. I was born down in the Bay Area and grew up until I was a teenager in the Bay Area.
Okay.
What
part of the Bay?
Down in the Bay Area, huh?
What part of the Bay?
Pacifica.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Down by San Francisco.
I like that area.
Yeah.
I was born in Richmond. And my dad refinished yachts in Richmond as I was growing up, and then they owned a bar in Crockett. So, that's all in our blood.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, I know you recently had your I think it was your second year anniversary in April of being sworn in as Chief of Police, but you have a long history here on the police force in Folsom.
I do. I'm the longest employee that we have here at the police department. So I've been here the longest of any employee that we have here.
Wow.
For over 25 years at the police department. So I started in 1995. Yeah. And then way through the ranks, starting as an officer, and then through the rank of commander, which is our second in command here at the police department. So I've done a lot for the police department, doing all different kinds of things, from canine to investigations. I did everything except ride a motorcycle. Then last year I decided to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and rode a motorcycle so that I could go to Washington, D.C. to honor the peace officers that have fallen in the line of duty and provide escorts to the families of the fallen officers. So did that last year. Like I said, learned how to ride a motorcycle. So we took some police motorcycles back there and did that. So now I guess I've done pretty much everything in law enforcement.
Sounds like it. Well, true confessions for me, gosh, here goes my guilty conscience. The other day I was crossing Natoma Street, and I swear I looked both ways. I don't know how many times at the stop sign, complete stop, just so you know. And I came close to hitting an officer on a motorcycle, and it scared me. So
yeah,
it's
probably scared him too.
Oh yeah, and I'm a motorcycle rider, so. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the horse? Have you ever been?
I've ridden the horse a couple times. I've ridden a couple of the horses, but yeah, that's not my thing too much. They have their own brain and decide what they want to do. You can try to control them, but they'll pretty much decide what they want to do if they want to do it. So, yeah. Fortunately, our horses are pretty well trained. We have 3 horses here at the police department. We have a paddock behind the police department, so they're all back there, and the officers get out on those horses quite a bit, but I don't do that often. Several years since I got on one of the horses.
That's what I want to do when I grow up. I just want to ride a horse and police the town.
Yeah,
I think I could pull it off.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, right? Yeah. Just ride down Sutter Street.
It would be great.
That would be fantastic.
And just like in those like old cowboy movies, I imagine you pinning a badge on me that's like sheriff.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
Probably not.
What was your first assignment? Was it in Folsom, or did you have another assignment?
I worked in Placerville for about 9 years before I came to Folsom.
Wow.
I started up there as a reserve police officer and then got on full time. So I worked in patrol up there and for a short time in investigations.
Okay.
Yeah.
My grandfather was chief of police at Lawrence Livermore Labs in Berkeley.
Oh, really?
When I was growing up, and he was on the bomb squad there too, and he retired from there. He's passed since, but you think I would have that in my blood, but honestly, I'm a scaredy cat. I don't think I appreciate you so much, because I don't think I could do what you do.
Well, it's in my blood. My father was a police officer. My son works for the Placer County Sheriff's Department. My daughter-in-law works for the Sacramento Police Department. My son-in-law is a police officer. So it is in our blood, kind of blue bloods type family for us.
Sounds like it. Wow. As our city grows, I'm sure you have to anticipate and plan for what is going to happen with our police force. So how do you imagine it changing in the next few years?
You know, in 2009, we had a larger police force than what we do now, and we had a smaller population then. So we have to think that once, as the population continues to grow, that we need more officers to police that population. And we also need to look at how can we police more smartly. We have to look at what type of technologies out there that can help us. We like to send police officers out to people's houses when they call and say, hey, something's been stolen from me. But people are more used to using computers now, especially with COVID. Everybody's getting used to things like Zoom or some of the other technology that's out there. So they may not be too afraid to use the computer to make a police report. We don't have online reporting in Folsom, but at some point, maybe we can use online reporting. That might mean we need not as many officers to police an area because people can help themselves to make a report. But we still need officers out there to reduce crime, because our goal would be for people not to be the victims at all.
Sure.
We actually have a really low crime rate in Folsom, which is a great thing. And that's because our officers are very proactive in their approach to law enforcement. We would rather stop crime from happening than respond to crime. And there's benefits to that, of course, is not being the victim is a great thing. We feel that we're pretty efficient at that and successful as a law enforcement agency. But at the same time, we don't get funding in many ways that other agencies do, because it's based on crime that occurs in your community. So where some of our communities that surround us will get money from the federal government every year, we don't get that money because we don't have the crime rate that these other communities have.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah, and so really some of the communities deserve some extra money to help them fight crime in some ways. But for us, with this COVID crisis that has hit, the federal government has released money to law enforcement. How they did that was to release it through the same funnel that they've released money for crime. And so we found that the money isn't available to us as easily as it is to other agencies that have a higher crime rate, even though the money's supposed to be to respond to the COVID crisis, not responding to crime. So some things that we've had to overcome. But as we see our community growing, we're going to be prepared and we're going to work to grow with our community. So we have a plan for the growth south of Highway 50. We have a plan to bring police officers on and to grow the facility, to look at what are the things that are happening most in our community and how can we prevent that from occurring. So traffic collisions, for instance. We want to try to prevent traffic collisions. The best ways of doing that are educating our community. Sometimes we have to get out there and write tickets. Our goal really isn't to write tickets. People think, well, you're going to get a lot of money if you write tickets. It's not about writing tickets and getting money. It's really not doing that. We're a police department really that is close to our community. Compared to a lot of other agencies, we're really close to our community. So our goal is to educate the community so that they're not involved in traffic collisions. Last year we had several traffic collisions that resulted in traffic fatalities.
Here in Folsom?
In Folsom, yeah. More than any other year. And they were across the board, all different types of collisions. We couldn't put our finger on what was causing these collisions. But we adjusted our shifts. We moved some people around to add people to our traffic unit. And we have a higher presence of officers out there doing traffic enforcement. And that seemed to help out. But we also put more influence out there on social media, trying to prevent people or slow people down, make them think a little bit more about their driving habits.
Yeah.
And that too, I think, helps. So when we had a very high number of traffic fatalities last year, so far, knock on wood, we have had none this year. So we've done really good.
Good.
Hope to keep it that way because it's about making the community safer. So as we continue to grow, we'll watch for that type of thing so that we can manage the growth properly and keep our stats where they should be so that we have the right number of people for the right crime or the right incidents that we have. So we don't have too many officers out there and or not enough.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. I met quite a few officers down in our area on the street, and then I'm friends with a few, and I'm friends with Officer Lassiter. He's told me interesting things about crime here too, that apparently a lot of people leave their back doors open in Folsom.
Yeah. We've done a good job. Like I said, people believe it's a safe community because it is a safe community, but you still have to lock your doors. You shouldn't leave your computer in your car overnight. You shouldn't leave your purse on your seat when you go to the store because you can be the victim. People are still out there looking to victimize our residents.
Yeah. That all seems like good common sense. What do you think is the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding part of the job is just being around the people, especially here in Folsom, and having those people appreciate the work that you do.
Yeah.
Annually we have an open house here at our police department, and that's a real special thing for us. And we also do our Santa Sleigh project. Our police association puts on the Santa Sleigh project.
Love it.
Since I started here, right? And or long before I started here. But, and I've been involved with it since I started. It's a great way of connecting with our community, and it's very unique to law enforcement, that it's one of those things that it's a tradition that's been around forever. But connecting with the kids and the families, having people come through our police department and talk to everybody, see what we do. Not many agencies allow for that. They'll allow, a get together where they'll have an open house where you come and you can sit outside and see the tools that we use and see some of the facility from the outside, but not where you're roaming around the entire department and can see everything. And to me, that's that special connection that we have with our community. And it's really what I enjoy about Folsom, is that we do have that special bond with our community here. We're all together one, and really trying to make this place a great community. Not just the police department, it's the residents, it's everybody coming together to do that.
That's good. I read up on you a bit before this interview. I've seen, we've run into each other a few times here and there, but I wouldn't expect you to remember me. So, but I read up, and I saw that in 2016, I think it was, that you actually saved a drowning victim and won an award for that. True?
Yeah. That was a good day and a bad day.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that was a day where there was a traffic fatality that day. A young boy had lost his life in a traffic fatality, and our cars were tied up, our fire personnel were tied up on that incident. It was a very busy day, and a call came out nearby where I was, of a person that had drowned, and I went there with another officer, and the person had already been taken out of the pool, and I performed CPR. So it's rewarding when you do that. It's one of my memories when I worked in Placerville. The same type of thing happened where a baby had drowned in a pool, and I was close by and arrived and gave CPR to the baby, and the baby lived. And you know, I've never followed the case, but the baby was fine.
Wow.
Those are the times when you feel real good about your job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason I couldn't do what you do. My brother, for quite some time, was an EMT, and he stopped. He got out of it because of incidents with children. He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
There's lots of losses, but there's wins and losses. And while we don't take them as simple as I'm saying them, as wins and losses, it's rewarding when you have that win, if you will, that you save someone's life. But we take it very, very hard when we do lose someone.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
That's one of the worst things that we all deal with.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that human element to this. I appreciate that. Yeah, what you do is very important for us. Okay, so let me change the topic a little bit here before.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. What do you love most about Folsom?
Well, I'd say it's the whole town atmosphere. I love that it's getting to be a mid-sized city, if you will, but it still has that small town atmosphere. That a lot of people know each other, and just people like being in town. And there's so much here in Folsom. You can do all your shopping here in Folsom, from being down on Sutter Street to getting coffee, to getting some candy at Snooks, to going down to Hopsing's for lunch, to going out for a steak, to going to the Palladio to shop for clothing, up to buying a car at the auto mall. You can do everything here in Folsom, and yet it still has that small town atmosphere. Just really like that, and people have a lot of ownership in their community. They're not just somebody that comes here. They don't just come here from work and sleep and then go back to work and have more ownership in another community. Plus, we have so many amenities here with the lake and the trails, the parks. There's just so much to do. It's a fun community. It's a great community. It seems like, well, except for today, it's not raining, but it seems like the sun's always shining. I mean, if it's going to be sunny in some place, it's going to be Folsom. It's just a great place, and people are always upbeat here. It seems.
Yeah,
So I like that.
that's good. Yeah, we live in Disneyland sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. There you
We
go.
live a charmed life. That's good. What? Here's a fun one. What is your favorite police movie? Do you have a favorite movie that's like,
Well, I don't know if not really a movie. I like it's a Amazon series, Bosch.
oh,
Um, and it follows a LA police detective um, who goes through some different strange crimes. So I've been following that, and I think it's on season like 5 or 6. So I've liked that. Yeah.
all right. Well, good.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
That's it.
Recommended by
Bosch.
Chief
That's
Hillman.
right.
That's good. That brings up another question. How do you think that Hollywood gets it wrong when with police dramas or comedies or whatever?
Yeah, well, a lot of Hollywood movies, they have police officers or former police officers that will go in there and help them with some of their scripts, but they have to fit things in a very short period of time. And when it comes to crimes, we don't solve them in a short period of time, and then we have to convict somebody. You have to do that beyond the reasonable doubt, and uh, it might seem easy when you watch it on TV or in a movie, but it's not that easy when you're trying to do that in real life and take something to court when you're going to take away somebody's rights.
Yeah.
So when you talk about dotting the I's and crossing the T's, we really have to do that in real life. And in television and in the movies, they don't always do that. They have technology that isn't true. It's not out there. It would be great if it was. It doesn't happen as fast as it looks like on TV. DNA doesn't come back within seconds.
Right.
And it would be fantastic if it did. But I think that's the biggest thing is television and the movies seem to put this take on law enforcement now that everything is instantaneous, and it isn't. And so it makes it difficult for some people to think that, hey, why haven't you solved my crime yet? Well, I've only been here for 5 minutes, and I know you need for a commercial break, but we don't solve things that quickly. It's impossible. And here, even in Folsom, we respond to about 65,000 calls a year. So for us, there's a lot of things that are going on, and we have 10 detectives that will work on cases. So they have to prioritize which cases they can handle. And obviously the most serious cases, those crimes that are against persons, take the highest priority. And sometimes they can take months to investigate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm learning so much today. This is helpful for me.
Oh, good.
I think it's going to be helpful for all of us. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. Okay, I have a more serious question for you. I have a friend. His name is Juan. He's in Michigan, and we lived in Michigan for a few years. And Juan, his whole family is from Mexico. And he told me one day, he said, I get pulled over all the time. He said, racial profiling for me is a big deal. And he's got a good attitude. He's not a naysayer. And he said, but it happens all the time. He said, chances are, if you are in the car with me, you're going to get pulled over with me sometime. And the next time I was in the car with him, he got pulled over. And it was a really weird experience. All of that to say, it seems like these days we see a lot of racial profiling. Are we just hearing about it more and it's always been there to some degree and the media blows it out of proportion, or have you actually seen it on the rise? I'm curious.
So I wouldn't say that I've seen it on the rise. I think that there are terms that are being tossed around. There was police militarization that was being tossed around. There's this racial profiling, and media is so easily acceptable and so quickly accessible now. You don't have to wait for the 5 o'clock news anymore to get your news. It's instantaneous. You're not waiting for the newspaper to be delivered tomorrow morning to get your news. It's right away. It's on your phone or it's on your watch. And if you have good eyesight, you can read it on your watch. But you're definitely getting it on your phone. And depending on what channels you watch and read and which blogs you're paying attention to, you can follow whatever you want, and they'll cling on to things that people may cling on to things that will just track it. And the more that people show an interest in it, the more it's out there. And we're getting things that aren't just local, but it seems like it's local because we're getting things that occur across the country. And you look at the number of interactions that law enforcement have with residents every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there was a racial profiling case out of Michigan, say, but how many officer to citizen contacts were there in that one day? Were there 1 million? So is there that many? What's the big ratio here? We in California, we're some of the larger agencies are conducting racial profiling, gathering racial profiling data to see if there is this racial profiling going on with officers. And all officers in California will, by 2023, be gathering data on racial profiling. Officers will have to determine when they stop a car, when you stop that car, what did you think the race of the person was before you stopped that car? After you stopped that car, what did you think the race of that person was or those occupants were?
Interesting.
And we do have racial bias training in the academy and continued training. Police officers undergo about 930 hours of training in a police academy. And then we have ongoing training that's required by the state of California. Well, I can't say what they do in Michigan or any other state in the union. I will say in California, we do have a lot of training and we keep up on our training. And when we see trends that are occurring across the nation, we in California try to address those trends, whether we see something happening or whether we just hear of it happening or whether it's just a belief. We want to make sure that it isn't occurring. So we try to address it. And we're doing a good job, in my opinion, of making sure that that's not occurring in our community. We in Folsom are not yet conducting data or collecting data for racial profiling. But we don't see that occurring, and we don't get complaints on our officers for racial profiling. That is another way of looking at the data that we have. I'm not saying that we've never received a complaint that an officer has stopped somebody because of their race, but we don't see a lot of that going on here. So we believe that we are in line with what our community expects us to be doing, and making stops because of an incident that involves a crime or a traffic violation.
I appreciate that honest answer. I think that's good to know that the police will even if it's a belief, because perception counts, that you
Yes.
count it as valid, you follow up with it. And that's good perspective for us. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything that you just wish the city of Folsom knew about the police department and you want to communicate it to us today?
Folsom, I think, has a good idea of what we are, who we are. I think there's a lot that our community understands when it comes to police. I think in some communities, they don't understand the human side of law enforcement, like we had discussed earlier with the drowning, for instance. Mm-hmm. Our public safety, police and fire, the human side of us means a lot, and we have to hide our feelings oftentimes to conduct the work that we do. And sometimes that's not understood, but believe me when I say it is a difficult job for us, because we do have a lot of things that occur in Folsom. And even when I say it is just Folsom, but we do have a lot of difficult things that occur, and they are oftentimes hard on our personnel, police and fire. But we have a strong bond with our community and a strong help assistance from our chaplaincy programs that help our personnel here when we do have incidents that occur. So there is a human side to the people that you see out there, and that just because they have a job to do doesn't mean that there isn't this human side to them. That's really what I want to make sure the community knows, is that officers are approachable, that they may seem kind of a little harsh sometimes, but especially in Folsom, we have a really good, solid group of people here. They really love coming to work. They enjoy protecting Folsom. There is this special connection here with the officers and the community, and they believe in the work that they're doing here. It's really unique that they have this ownership, whether they live here or not. They have this ownership in the community. They want to make sure that the crime doesn't occur here. And if it does, they take it personal, and they're going to find the people that are committing the crime and hold them accountable.
Sure.
Or they want to prevent it from happening. They really enjoy taking our youth in the community and showing them the right path, or helping them and getting involved with them. So we have a good group of people, and while sometimes they may not seem too approachable, know that they are, and know that they have your best interests in mind.
That's good. Chief, I was having a talk with Joe Gagliardi of the Greater Folsom Partnership a couple of weeks ago, and I said one of the goals of these Coffee Convos is to put skin on people, to let us see the people's humanity. And this has been just such a refreshing, wonderful chat with you today. It's done just that. Maybe we can end this today by you telling us, how does Chief Hillman reset? How do you?
Well, before we end, though, I think you have a question that your wife wants you to get answered. And
oh, that is true.
If you don't get that through, then that's not good.
That is true. I would get in trouble.
Question.
Okay,
I'm going to save you.
We live in the historic district.
Yes.
And she wants to know if she parks our car going the opposite direction, opposite
illegally
traffic flow.
Illegally.
She'll get a ticket for that.
She quite possibly could get a ticket for that. Okay. So it is illegal to park more than 15 inches from the right side of the curb line. So her right side has to be up against the right side of the curb.
Okay.
So
well, look at that.
Yes, she could get a ticket for that.
Okay. Right. I will let her know.
Okay. Good deal. Yes.
Okay. So now that we got that, thank you for saving me.
All right. Yeah, I took care of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Fist bump. And so now, how do you reset? How do you rejuvenate? Find new life? Get rest. How do you reset?
Yeah. Well, I like to spend all my extra time with my family. I have 7 grandkids. I love to play with those grandkids and just enjoy every minute with them, whether they're playing soccer, baseball, watching one of them do cheerleading, or just chasing the little ones around. That to me is just the fun part. I also have some really good friends, and sometimes it's just going over to their house for a bonfire or doing some other fun stuff, getting out for walks, that kind of stuff, taking advantage of the amenities that we have here in Folsom.
That's good.
Just doing all of that. So
it's a great place to do it. A great
that's
safe
what
place.
I do. I hang out in Folsom.
Good deal. Well, maybe you'll come hang out with me when we can open one day.
Yes, hopefully that'll be soon, right?
Let's hope.
Yes.
That'll be good. Hey, thank you for your time, Chief, and I look forward.
Thanks for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, peace.